You cannot heal, and you never will. This is going to be a little bit controversial, but bear with me. You cannot heal, and you never will. And there's a couple of reasons why, and I'm going to share them here. This is one perspective on infinite potential, and you're welcome and free to embrace it or not. So you cannot heal, and healing actually does not exist, because the you that feels, believes, senses, experiences that it needs to heal is not the same, is not the essence of what you imagine healing is. There's infinite potentials of reality. There's infinite versions of ourself. And the version of ourselves of what we call is sick or in need of healing, and the versions of ourselves that are what we call healed or well are completely different. They are alternate realities. There is no process of going from sickness to wellness. There's no process of going from healing to healed. There is a shifting of identity. And that identity of the one who needs healed and the one is what we call as healed is a complete shift of your being, a complete shift of who you are. And so this week I put up a post about my shifting of being. I put up a post from about 12 years ago where I was drunk, addicted, depressed, darkness, heaviness, and then a picture of myself recently when I was doing a men's work at a retreat, not at a retreat, at a festival with Sacred Sons, where I was bright and shining and feeling. So the picture on the left showing the drunk, depressed, angry version was not, and the picture on the right where it was showing living in my purpose, bright, shining, healthy, sober. They are different versions of reality. And the version, if we go deeper, the version or the awareness that is looking at both of them is untouched by either, but that's for another call. That's for another time. There isn't a process of healing. There is a shifting of identity from one who believes, sees, feels, and experiences there is a need for healing or there is an experience of sickness to one who knows, feels, and experiences that they are healed, whole, and well. And it's not a process of going from one to the other. It's a complete shifting to a parallel reality, to an alternate reality where those identities do not match. So you cannot heal because this reality is what we assume it to be. This reality will reflect what we believe, what we think, what we act, what we assume to be true. So if we take the idea of healing, if I say the 12 year back version of me needed healing, the very premise of that accepts an idea, a version that is sick, that is incomplete, that is not whole. And there is no moving from that because that assumption starts from lack, starts from a lie, because our true nature is whole, holy, wholeness, wellness. So when we start from the idea that I am lacking, that I am in some way in need of healing, we start from a position that guarantees that we cannot heal because we are identifying, we are choosing, we are affirming, we are drawing from the infinite field of potential a version of self that is sick, that is lacking, that is in some way in need of something. What happens and what looks like what we call healing is a shifting through many different realities, many different multiple realities of ourself that go through various stages of remembering I am whole, I am well. But they are not leading one to the other. They are just a process of shifting vibration, shifting the idea, shifting the concept of self, shifting the idea of what I consent and what I allow and what I believe is true about my reality. The version of me that was drunk, sick, depressed, angry, didn't have this awareness. So its reality, his reality reflected what he knew to be true. The version of me now isn't just another parallel alternate reality that sees, believes, and experiences something different. But there wasn't a process of going from there to there. It's an instantaneous shift. It's a shift of identity. It's a shift of consciousness. It's a shift of knowing I am whole, holy, and well. And the mastery in the human realm is the ability to shift to that reality regardless of what the 3D reality shows you, regardless of what the sick care system tells you, regardless of what your body displays, of what people tell you, of what is true, of what is scientifically possible. You have to shift your identity to one who knows I am whole, holy, well, abundant, prosperous, vibrant, health. And that is my source, that is my core, that is the cause of my being. And that can seem to happen incrementally, but it's instantaneous shift. It's a recognition of who we are. And we can fall back into that when our reality, so let's say, I talk about this often, you have a peak experience, you have a spiritual experience, you have an awakening experience, a remembering experience, and you have a high, you go to a retreat, you have an experience with someone. I don't ascribe to the word healers, but let's just say you go to someone, they present a vibration that you temporarily match and you feel better. You feel uplifted, you feel whole and holy. Then what happens? Day later, week later, month later, year later, you forget. You fall back into patterns. You start to reflect the status quo of your world. You start to believe what the world is showing you, and that peak experience fades. And what happens? All that happens is we shift back to that alternate version of ourselves that had the old belief systems, but we're always in some way changed. You can't unsee in consciousness what you see. So there's always a little part of us that has tasted something, that has experienced something, that knows something that can't unknow. But we can act out and play out and match any version of ourselves and any storyline of ourselves and any belief system of ourselves, and our reality will reflect that. And the version of ourselves that sees itself as unhealed and the version of ourselves that sees itself healed is seen by something that is not touched, that is not healed, unhealed, that is not here nor there, doesn't have a name. It simply is observing and watching. So while we are focused in these physical bodies, in this physical form, we came here to remember who we are. We came here to remember our wholeness, our holiness, and we can do that through infinite versions of ourselves. But it's not a process of healing, because healing does not exist. You cannot heal, and you never will, because if we see ourselves as someone who needs healed, we confirm in consciousness, we affirm in consciousness, we assume a reality where we are broken, where we need something, that we need fixing, and that, in essence, concretizes, manifests, physicalizes that version of ourselves, and that version of ourselves has nowhere to go from there. The only thing that the misnomer that is called healing is shifting through realities of ourselves where more and more we are remembering the holiness, the wholeness that we are. But we shift instantaneously, and incrementally we remember, but it's instantaneously experienced. You who are watching this video are not the same being that started to watch the first part of this video. Every word, every breath, we're shifting through billions of alternate realities of ourselves. Our history is changing all of the time. We think that our history is the same, but our history is changing all of the time by every interaction, by every belief shift, by every thought, by every word, by every action. And we have a continuity of consciousness thinking that my history leads into a present, into a future, and that's always continuous, but it's not. It's just our history is changing all of the time, but you don't know the version of history that you had a second ago because you shifted into a new reality where that history is different to the one that you believed that you had before, and so that you have a new history. So if you are on a journey where you feel there is something lacking in your life, where you feel you would like to experience more wholeness, more holiness, more wellness, I invite you to shift to the version of you that already exists, that knows the truth of these words, that knows you are whole, holy, complete. You are a child of God. You are a child of the infinite. You are an offspring of the Divine Mother, of the Divine Father. And there is no lack. There is no sickness. There is nothing missing. There is no process to go through. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to learn it. You don't have to achieve it by some effort. You are whole. You are holy. You are. I am. We are. If this resonates with your soul and you're called to shift your identity and shift your perspective and shift your perception of self and what you assume to be true about the world, I'm here to assist you, to remind you of who you are, to remind you and show you that you don't need healing, that you are an abundant being, you're a vibrant being, you're a life itself, you are the essence of life itself. You can experience any version of yourself. You can experience a vastly expanded version of what you are currently experiencing, and it's not a process of healing. It's a shifting of identity. It's an expansion of consciousness. It's a remembering of who you are and why you're here. If you're called to this, give me a DM. Go to heartleader.love, as I am on a life mission to ignite, unite and highlight 144,000 heart leaders living and giving their unique genius in the world, and to impact and inspire the next 7 generations on earth, leaving a legacy of love. This version of me forgot a little bit about that there. Drop us a comment below, DM, go to heartleader.love. I'd love to meet the version of you that you've just forgotten. Until next time, from my heart to yours, the divine in me sees, loves, and honors the divine in you. Namaste. We are